What makes an anime memorable? There's many possible answers to that question. I'd argue that in terms of leaving an imprint on your mind, appearance matters. But for the most iconic of anime, simply looking good isn't enough, because I'd say a lot of stuff out there can tick that box. That's especially true now. Can you really say any of the visuals of the top 10 airing anime right now look shit? The real trick is having a consistent visual identity that either thematically encapsulates what the show is about, or pulls out an emotion from within you. Today, I want to talk about an anime that I think does both, and serves as an example of what makes anime so special. This is how Call of the Night shines.
私が教えてやるよ。夜遊びってやつ。
The identity of Yofukashi no Uta involves being outside in the middle of the night frequently. Take that away from the show and it would be a completely different entity. As such, the anime attaches a very vibrant and lively look to nightlife, not just from artificial light like buildings, but with beautiful splashes of bright yellows and blues across the sky. Now, of course, in real life, you wouldn't even see the stars in a built-up area like this because of light pollution. So, the fact that Call of the Night dials up its cosmic art to the extreme definitely gives it a distinctive look. It's surreal, and it fits in well with the supernatural nature of the anime, a perfect place for the domain of vampires. At the same time, though, this city setting lures us in with an almost paradoxical realism. It doesn't feel otherworldly, it feels like a romanticised version of what going out at night is like. The deep but varying palette of this show, from the streets to the aforementioned sky, connect together seamlessly to form a very human environment. Here's the thing, as someone who has strolled around Osaka at 3 AM in the morning, I can say that beyond 10 PM, urbanised Japan definitely has a unique feel to it. That's the result of a few things, and I'd say all of them are present in the way Call of the Night presents itself. Things like having salarymen stumble about, 24/7 convenience stores, and bridges over bright trains and traffic. Funny enough, Call of the Night is set in a suburb of Tokyo, Saitama to be exact. It gives it just enough space to allow some of the best scenes in the anime to pop. Now, of course, the anime doesn't take place exclusively outside. Some of the most affecting moments are in enclosed spaces that have a completely different feeling to everything I've mentioned thus far. Take Nazuna's apartment. It's a small space that is mostly lit by ceiling lights and one window. There's not much visual intensity here, at least most of the time, which makes it a great area for long and dialogue-heavy scenes. The sequence that starts towards the end of episode 5, where Ko is roped into doing a massage course as a result of Nazuna's provocative tactics. It's a comical set of events, but when Ko and the client Kyosumi start to talk about work, relationships, and life, it takes a hard turn. All of this happening in a largely empty room that spotlights the conversation at hand. Ko sees himself in the way this 24-year-old feels flattened by society, and in a rebellious and childlike spout, he decides that he needs to show her what he discovered from living on the dark side. When Nazuna proceeds to throw Kyosumi out of the window, we reconnect with the night that had been absent for quite some time in a powerful way. As she flies past her reflection, questioning if she'll die, Ko then declares this idea of living freely. Immediately, she laughs it off. But then the night takes the stage with a simple declaration.
道のど真ん中を歩けるんだ。こんなの。やめられるわけない。
With just this, the show highlights an attractive principle in an evocatively visual way. These are the kind of scenes that give Call of the Night its thoughtful appeal, even when it has so many slapstick moments. As I've said before, this is a series that's not about following rules and conventions. So far, I've mostly mentioned fairly grounded uses of light, but there are multiple instances that go far beyond this. In episode 7, we get a point of conflict with the first appearance of the vampire Seri. One moment, everything is normal, then Nazuna bombastically shows up, and the scene plunges into an intense pink hue. It makes this fight scene that much more formidable. It also happens at a point in the series series when we are learning more and more about the chaotic customs of vampires, and the visuals paint this craziness well. Another great example of this happens later in episode 9. Ko finds himself in a karaoke booth with Seri, already conflicted with the morality of what he has learned about vampires so far. When one of Seri's livestock appears at the door, the atmosphere becomes suffocating, as do the colours used. Seri blends in with the pink, almost colour negative tone that washes the scene, while Yamori is distinctly green, highlighting the conflicting views of each character. This type of visual storytelling is fruitful in Call of the Night, possibly reaching a peak with the introduction of Anko, a mysterious detective that further stirs up all the questionable ideas and conflicts in Ko's mind. She brings with her a distinct colour association, a much more mellow pink that interacts with the environment differently in a way that is unique to her presence. I also really love how the show creatively plays with the absence of light when Anko is on screen. It's just really aesthetic.
仕事帰りですか？
今日は比較的早く上がれたんだ。
That's probably a word I should be using more for Call of the Night. It's where I started this video off. There is no denying it as a series that oozes style. Beyond its overarching choices, there's the little things that make moments special. There's many different shots that capture the essence of night photography, with things like bokeh effects. The shots are established in a way that captures all of the unique ways light interacts with a camera at night, even when they really didn't have to. After all, there is no camera in anime. In fact, there is a liberty to go beyond conventions with every minute of an animation. And if there's one thing I've hopefully conveyed, Call of the Night really goes hard in that area. There's even some solid symbolism at times, which from a show with such an outward quirky tone, you wouldn't really expect. It's not particularly pompous, it's just neatly inserted. Like with this shot, the use of traffic symbols with no logical connection puts the conflict that has been bubbling up in Yamori Ko front and centre. The last quick thing I want to talk about is the power of sequence. It is something that's most notable when an anime has a unique way of presenting things. The handling of episode 13's later half summates in both a narrative and visual sense everything that has, well, occurred thus far. Yamori found joy in the night, but that was only possible through the vector of Nazuna. His fearlessness and determination, captured in this ending sequence, shows the value they both have had on each other. When Ko finds Nazuna, the scene plays out in the reverse of their initial meeting. It's a cute but actually quite powerful way of summating that they now see each other as equals and need each other, really. The value that a viewer gets from a production that is actively trying to deliver a fresh experience is something that is of ever-growing importance in anime. As I said before, there's a lot out there that looks fine, even good, but when that's the status quo, finding experiences like Call of the Night is what has made me continue to watch anime for over a decade. I hope I shared that spark with you. I've been Russ, and have a great night or day.